This week, I heard a quote that completely changed the way I think about things, not just in business, but in life. And today on the Patience on Demand podcast, I am going to share it with you and dive in deeper and see it will have the same impact on you as it had on me, as well as my staff who I shared it with this week. So let's get going. Welcome back. It's great to be back with you on another week of the Patience on Demand podcast. We've been talking about all sorts of different topics lately, from our massive Google update, the biggest one in 10 years. If you haven't seen that episode or listened to it, make sure you check out last week's podcast. But more importantly is a mental shift that I've had. And you know, it's funny. You hear the same things over and over and over. And then somebody puts it in a different way, says it just slightly different than you've ever heard. And all of a sudden, you understand your life, your business, everything in a totally different perspective. And that's why even sometimes on this podcast, you may feel like, oh, she's covering that topic again. Well, it's because you might have one of these moments like I did this week, where you fully realize you've heard it a million times, but now you understand it in a different way because you are a different person. You have changed. How you think about things has changed over time. And so let me dive in to this monumental shift that I had in my mind this week. I was listening to some podcasts by my friends. Shout out to the Cashflow Tactics guys. And they were interviewing an entrepreneur named Kelfer. And he shared at the very end of this podcast an amazing quote from his father. And basically the story went, his father asked him before he launched his first book as an entrepreneur, hey, you want all these things in life, right? Like you want more money. And he's like, yeah. You want a great wife? Yeah. You want a great, house? Yeah. I want all these things, Dad. And he goes, his dad told him, everybody else desires the same thing you want. And then really there's no shortcut to getting it. You've got to put in the work. And we've probably all heard this, right? We've heard this. But then his dad said to him, the only shortcut in life is to start right now. Now let's dissect this a little, because I feel this way all the time. I have even felt my employees feel this way, having this little bit of angst about how can we get things done? How can we make this easier? How can we make things quicker? I have clients or prospective clients that come to us and they're like, I just need more patience now. I just need my website to work now. Like, isn't there a shortcut? How can we get this done faster? Right? We look for so many shortcuts in our life. Deep down knowing that to get things done right, so they actually are going to work the way we do, it takes a lot of time and effort. And the truth is, everybody else wants the same outcome, whether it's to be rich, whether it's to have this type of family, whether it's to marry this person, whether it's your business achieves X by the end of the year. We all have outcomes that we all desire. But why do most people sit there and they've got a 5-year dream and 5 years later, they're still dreaming? And that's because they don't realize exactly what Jake's dad was teaching him, which is the only shortcut in life, and I'm going to add in business, is to start right now. You may have two reactions to this. I shared this with my team this week, and a lot of them, they literally afterwards were all like, their word was inspired, motivated, like, let's go. And that they had such a clear vision on, hey, if they really want things to change in personal life, in business, over the next 5 years, like, what's the step you have to take today? What is the step you have to take today? And I think as we are coming up on the new year, it's even more important to remember this truth. Why do things not get done? Maybe we're looking for a shortcut. Maybe we're looking for that magical marketing pill that overnight is going to transform our business. But the real shortcut, the real thing that's going to get the transformation you're seeking, is starting right now and doing the hard work to get it. Doing not just the hard work. Let me exchange that word with, you could say, making the hard decision, making the time commitment to something, or even making the monetary commitment to something. That is really the key to faster success. So even when clients come to me and ask me like, hey, I want to be at XYZ, like I want this many inquiries off my website. Like that's my goal. I always ask, just like you do in a discovery visit or in a taster session or on the phone with a new patient, right? What do you want to accomplish? Where do you want to be? And then you map out the plan of care to say, all right, this day we got to do this, and this day we got to do this, and this day we got to do this. And if they're like, oh, well, okay, that sounds good, but I'm going to wait and start in 3 weeks. And you're like, what? You just told me how important it was that you get back to XYZ. And now you're telling me we're going to delay it 3 weeks for what? Same thing. I talked to clinic owners who are so eager to get their website working for them like an online sales rep, right? And then they're like, oh, maybe I should wait 6 months. And then they wonder in 6 months why nothing's changed. It's because they didn't take the shortcut, which was to start now, to make the first step in the right direction. So one of my employees shared a few of his dreams when it came to in the long run regarding, he's younger. So regarding buying a house one day and all this jazz. And he was sharing those thoughts. And he goes, I'm now realizing from working here that the only way that becomes a reality is if I plan it out and execute it. And that may seem so simple, like, well, duh, but look at your life and what you dreamed of 5 years ago, and have you achieved it or not? And why? Really, it's because you haven't taken, usually, I'll tell you there's exceptions in life, throws us curveballs. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to dismiss all of those tough things that have happened, including something like a global pandemic nobody saw coming, interrupting your year plan. Okay. Not trying to throw those to the wind, but stick with me here on principle. Most of the time we look back and we're like, well, I didn't really take the steps necessary because I didn't take the time to make the hard decision to invest in the right way in my business or my personal life, whether it's time, money, etc. And therefore just got pushed back. And all the time I'm thinking, where's the shortcut? Where's the shortcut? The shortcut's right in front of you. The shortcut is right in front of you. It's to start now. And so I bet as we're coming into Q4 now, and everything you're doing planning wise and thinking about the next year, a lot of times you're going to be considering, what do we take on? What do we not take on? What fits in with the goals for the next year? What doesn't? And all in that regard, what steps then do we have to take now? What steps then do we have to take in January? What steps do we have to take in February, March, et cetera, to get where we want to go? This is the same thing we do with any client that comes into PT Website Secrets and our Patients on Demand system. It's the same thing. Where do you want to be? What's the plan to get there? What steps do we take now? We hit those steps, we get there on time. We've followed the path of least resistance, which happens to be a shortcut. We start missing steps. Now we're not taking the shortcut any longer. We're not on schedule. We're not keeping track. So that's why when our clients come in, we have a very clear track so that the project gets done on time. A lot of people wonder how we have a 30-day turnaround time. That's how. Make it very clear what has to happen for that. One of these days, I'll do a podcast where I kind of show you behind the scenes on that. I've been encouraged by a few people to do that, to show you guys how big of a process it is to take somebody in 30 days to a online sales rep generating leads for business, right? All those things have to happen. The shortcut is to just do them and do them in the right order at the right time, starting right now. Whatever you're looking to achieve in the next year in your business or even in your personal life, I'd highly encourage you, as you're going through Q4 planning, that you're also considering your personal life. What is it? What's the goal of your website? Is the goal of your website to bring in 30 consistent leads a month so that your staff can then convert a certain percentage of them, so that you know roughly from your website every month you're going to be averaging about this many new patients? What are the numbers? Is your website developer clear on what your numbers are? If not, do you need to have a conversation and say, hey, this isn't happening. What else can we do? Are we hitting the percent conversions off the website that we should be, right? Maybe you're trying to accomplish another huge project next year. Maybe you're trying to add an entire new cash pay service to your clinic, whether you're cash pay or not. Well, if we want this being delivered by June 1st, what needs to happen today? What meeting needs to occur today for the planning? What needs to occur the next week? What needs to occur the week after that? The shortcut is just planning that out and starting now. That's it. It's that simple. I know some of you might be like, oh, it's a little painful to think about, because you'll think of all the times now you've missed the shortcut. It's like playing Candyland and you're like, dang it, I drew double purple, which is really great, but I missed the shortcut that would have got me even farther along. Trust me, I've been there, right? Sometimes we look back and we realize that. Sometimes we think, oh, if only I'd started that earlier. Retirement's a great example, right? When people realize later in life how much they gave up by not starting sooner or starting with the right things. Same thing goes for your business. Same thing goes for your personal life. The shortcut is to start right now. So where are you not taking the shortcut? What negative impact is that having on your life, on your business, on you getting to where you want to go for your bigger goals? And really, in the case of a lot of people, I do see their website is one of the severe shortcuts they're not taking. They're letting it just sort of sit there, and it's easy to ignore because you don't see it necessarily every day because you're just in the clinic and you're thinking like, oh, I worked on that 6 months ago. It's probably still okay enough. It's not a high priority. And it gets pushed down the list. And then more months go by without realizing that is the central hub of your brand's representation online. And if what's going on amazing in the clinic isn't reflected what's going on online, if you don't get that same experience that people are having in the clinic, when those people, before they come in visiting your website, you're losing out. You are not taking the shortcut. Maybe it's in other areas of your business. Maybe you've been delaying something else that's really important. Like I said, adding cash pay service as an example. Maybe that's the shortcut that you're missing right now. Something that just keeps getting thrown down your to-do list that would have a major impact, but we don't want to take that first step and just start. So reflect on the shortcuts you're missing right now and realize that the only way to actually get a shortcut in your life and business is to start now. Take that along with you this week. Sit on that, mull on that. And if you feel like we need to talk about it more, especially when it comes to your website and getting it actually working as an online employee, if you're still stuck in website mode and not taking the shortcut to getting more new patients, be happy to chat with you about that more. Just go to ptwebsitesecrets.com/strategy. Calendar's up. You can go grab a time. They're really filling up fast. Like Q4 is the busiest time of year for us. So our spots are filling up fast. So if you want to talk sometime before the end of the year, please go on there soon, grab a time, and we will have a conversation. I'm ready to go take a few more shortcuts. I hope you are too. Talk to you next week. Bye.